Well, thank you, David. I must say it is just an honour to be a member of Women for Change and to be here tonight to take you a little deeper into the stories of these three just inspiring and courageous women. Of course, first, Dr. Kakenya Ntaiya, who is an international education entrepreneur and the first Maasai woman in Kenya to gain her PhD. And two of her stellar students, Sharon Tiyo and Linet Momposhi, who have taken their first flight ever from Kenya. They'll be studying here in Australia, but they just flew in yesterday. Welcome to you all. Now, Kakenya, before we get to a little more about the story of how you set up the school, what an achievement. I mean, seriously, it is 2 years since David stood here at the LBW Trust Dinner at the SCG and told of how moved he was by Kakenya's story, and that he wanted to find a way for Australians to be involved in her goal of changing the futures for Maasai girls. Then last year, Kakenya was here, and I have to say, every single member of the audience was on their feet applauding when she was explaining how she gained her education, the obstacles to doing that, and the bargains that she made to do it, how she faced challenges with Maasai culture and dealing with the approach, the prejudices, I guess we've got to say, against women, and the challenges of setting up a school for girls. And now, just 1 year later, and thanks to the generosity of many people here today, we have Sharon and Linet, two girls who were in Kakenya's very first class at the Kakenya Centre for Excellence, and now they're going to be studying at world-class universities here in Sydney. Kakenya, I have to ask you, how proud are you?
Wow. I think, Eleanor, tonight, and I think just a whole, I actually don't have a word that can describe how I'm feeling, and how grateful I am, and how honored I am to have so many of you who stood up and make the dreams of these girls come into be a reality. I met these girls when they're 9 years old, and I told them, you have a dream and you will achieve it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but you people have made it happen. And I just want to thank you, because we dream and we don't know what happens, but you've made it happen. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Exciting! So exciting.
Now, Kakenya, I know it's a really long story, and I'm not going to get you to tell the whole story, but just about the school. So you were in the US, you were doing your PhD, and you wanted to come back to your Maasai village and set up a school. But it wasn't just an ordinary school. This was to be a school for girls. Why? Why girls?
Last year, I talked to you about my own personal upbringing. A girl is not valued, and I wasn't valued. I went through female genital cutting and began to get my education. I fought so hard, and I got an opportunity. Somebody gave me a scholarship, and I went to study. And that's when I realized that women, girls in my village should also be going to school. But the schools that were there, it was not meant to empower women. It was not meant to help the girls dream and become who they want to become. It was meant to instill the societal information that a girl, the best thing for you is to be a wife and raise your children, that when you're 12, 13, you're going to go through the female genital cutting, and you are going to get married, and you're going to have children. And so in school, you're sweeping the classroom, At home, you're swimming the house. You're cooking in school, you're cooking at home. You're collecting firewood in school, you're collecting firewood at home. So there is no way that that school was going to be any helpful to build girls that I used to feel very lonely. Being an educated girl and you're alone, it's very lonely. I will go to meetings, and because I'm educated, I'm the only one. And when we started the school, I wanted the school that will make leaders. I wanted the girls to know that they're leaders. And from the day they walked in, I told them, you're leaders. Our community tells us to look down. I tell my girls, look up. And we have really, it was for me the only way you could empower them was to put them in this school where you had to remove the ideologies that had been put in their mind and put the ideologies that you are children, you can contribute to the future, you are the president, you are the lawyer, you are everything that you want to be, and I wanted them to believe that.
And Kakenya, just one more question on the school. There were a couple of rules that the parents had to agree to before the girls were allowed to go. Now, you told me today that, I didn't tell them about them straight up. So tell us what they were and when you actually did tell the parents.
So when I started this school, because when you look at all girls' education and girls' empowerment has been in the topics for many, many years, and we've not made many strides because of the approach that we go into the communities. You find it's a top-down. You come into a community and you demonize, saying them, what you're doing is wrong, I want to take the girls away, I want to lock them somewhere. So it's a very harsh approach. So when I had meetings with parents and the men, I used to just say, I want us to have a school, a safe place for the daughters, so they don't have to walk, because the biggest thing that was afraid for both fathers and mothers is that when the girls are walking to school, when they start getting a bit mature at 7 and 8 and 9, they're raped on their way to school. So the biggest thing for the parents is like, let's get them married fast, because she will not get pregnant before she's married. And that was the fear they carried with them. And I said, well, we'll have a boarding school, so they don't have to travel. And I wanted them to know that the girls would be safe. My idea was, eventually once you have them, you can make all the rules you want to make. And I remember the first meetings we had, and I told the parents, do you really know what you signed up for? And they're like, yeah, we want you to educate the girls. And I said, yeah, but I want them not to be ever face a knife. They're like, well, Kakenya, this is tradition. And I said, well, that's the rule. And you have to promise me you're not going to take them and do it in secrets. I brought the chief, because the chief enforces the law. And they signed a contract that they will never mutilate these girls, and then they will allow them to go to school. And my girls can tell you, no one can touch Kakenya's girls. Leave them alone.
Well, that's certainly what the girls have been telling me. Let's just hear a little bit from Linet and Sharon, because you were there on day one, weren't you? You were among the first girls who were selected for the Kakenya Centre for Excellence. First to you, Linet, how do you think your life would have been different if you hadn't gone to Kakenya's school?
Okay, for my life, I don't think I would have been here right now. I had a different perspective of life before I joined Kakenya Center. I knew at around the age of 12, 11, I'll get circumcised and get married off. So that's what I was actually waiting for until I joined Kakenya Center.
And what changed? What did Kakenya tell you about your possible future?
When I joined Kakenya Center is where my dreams really grew. I even imagined myself of being a cardiologist one day, and she encouraged me that anything is possible, and I took her as my mentor. So I knew whenever I dream, it's possible because she's a lady, she's a Maasai like me, so it's also possible with me.
And Sharon, what about you? How did knowing Kakenya change the way you were able to see your future?
Okay, knowing Kakenya was very nice for me. I was brought to do an interview in that school, Kakenya Center, while I was in class 3. I knew nothing about Kakenya, but my parents knew. When I joined, we were told about our story. That's when I started knowing that a Maasai girl can also achieve and be successful in future just like she did. And I promised and vowed to myself to always work hard so that I can be successful and bring a difference in my community and in my society, just like the way she did.
And Sharon, tell us a little bit about your family, because I think many people here tonight might be quite surprised at the number of brothers and sisters that you have.
Okay, I'm from a polygamous family I have 3 stepmothers. We are 26 children in my family.
That's 26, in case you were just thinking you misheard.
Yeah, we are 26. Then from my mother's side, we are 9, and I'm the 8th born. Yeah.
And Sharon, just staying with you for a moment, did you ever have a fear? You're from a very traditional family in a traditional Maasai village. Did you have a fear once you were at Kakenya's school that you would be taken back to the village for the cutting ceremony?
No, because when I joined Kakenya Center, my parents were very afraid of Kakenya, so they couldn't. They couldn't dare to touch Kakenya's girls, so they really feared her because they'll get arrested if they do so.
Now, Linet, I know that when you went home on holidays, one of your aunts in particular was very concerned that you hadn't gone through the cutting ceremony. Tell us about that.
Okay, that happened when I was in Form 3, and my auntie came home and I started asking my dad why, like, my elder sister and I had not undergone the knife, and my dad was so angry because he thought we are so precious to him. And I think it's also due to the fear of Kakenya that he did not allow that. So he chased my auntie away and told her never to come back home until today.
There was a time, though, that you did have to run and hide, wasn't there?
Okay, when I was in Form 2, some women from my community came attacking my home just because I have not undergone FGM. None of my sisters has undergone either, so they were concerned and they wanted us to undergo FGM. So I feared and I had to run away from home, and I had to stay with my primary school English teacher for around 2 weeks before school opened.
So, Sharon, here you and Linet were, you know, in this amazing school, in a completely different environment. And even as 9-year-olds, I do wonder whether you might have imagined coming here. How did it feel when you were told, only a few weeks ago, that you were to be one of the students from Kakenya's school that went to Australia?
Wow. It was Christine who told me actually that we will be coming here. I never knew that I was the one selected to come to study in Australia. You know, it's a very rare thing in my village. There's actually no girl who ever flown to another country. When I was told, I was very happy. I even cried. I couldn't believe it. I became wordless. Oh my God, it was just so exciting.
And Linet, what about you? Did you become tearful and wordless as well?
For me, I didn't react at first. I was still absorbing the shock inside me. So when I went back to the other girls, because the interview were going one by one, and then I was the first one actually, and Christine told me, and I was like, are you sure it's me? It's not me. And then when I went home, when I told my parents, my mom started crying, and then I cried, and the whole night I didn't sleep. I was just crying. I was so excited.
Now, I know David's mentioned what you're both doing, but just tell us a little more about what you'll be studying here and why you wanted to do. You're doing IT at WSU, but you also had a dream of being a cardiologist. Tell us why you've chosen to study what you're studying.
Okay, at Kakenya Center, I was given a mentor when I was in class 8 who has really guided me throughout my high school life. And when I was in Form 3, I was just in the library checking on something, and I came through information technology. And when I asked her about information technology, she advised me to take information technology, which I'll be studying in Australia.
And Sharon? What will you be studying and why?
Okay, for me, I'll be taking health science because I want to become a pharmacist in future. I chose to be a pharmacist because in my home area, they are very rare, and I wanted to be unique. It's very rare for a girl to take medicine, and if there is one, maybe it's only one or something. So I decided to be different so that I can help those people. You know, the hospital bill, it's very high, and there are no near hospitals at home. So people have to travel for a long distance. So I just want to make it easier for my people to access medication at a faster rate. Thank you.
And what do you both hope to take home to Kenya when you've finished your studies here? First to you, Linet.
For me, once I'm done with my studies here, I would like to go back to my community. And I have seen many children orphaned grow, and most of them do not really get an education because they don't get that one person who will help them or support them in any way. So I would like to build a children's home once I'm done and support the orphaned.
And Sharon?
Okay, as I was coming here, everyone was telling me, go there, but remember to come back. So I'll have to definitely go back to Kenya, specifically to my community, and help the girls there, help them access good education, and give them more knowledge, and help them with the medication, and make it easier for them, maybe. Yeah.
Now, just a very last question, because Kakenya mentioned how she treats all her students as future leaders. What have you learnt from Kakenya about leadership? And I know with you, Linet, you have a particular interest in politics. I'm wondering if we're in the company of a future president.
Oh, yes. She has always taught me to be a leader in whatever situation. Whether I'll be that table with you, I know I am the leader. So, and one time, you will have President Linet Momposhi for Kenya. One president.
Yeah, only the one. She doesn't want to be sharing the presidency. And Sharon? The question about what has Kakenya taught you about leadership?
Okay, she told me that I'm always the leader of my own. In everything I do, I should be the leader. And in everywhere I go, I work as a leader and be a leader to everyone. yeah, she tells me to choose myself before people choose me. So I just believe, though even when I'm just seated before you people, I believe that I'm a leader.
What an amazing couple of girls. How lucky we are in Australia to have you. Thank you so much. And I hope that you've seen the calibre of the girls that we're supporting. Kakenya has many more students coming through every year. I wonder if we can actually do it again. I wonder if we can raise the money to allow another lot, 24 girls, to continue their education. If you are interested in talking to any members of the Women for Change, I'm just going to quickly ask them now to stand up while we leave the stage so that you can recognise them and come and talk to us. Thank you so much.
And as we finish, oh, it's off. Is it off? Okay. I really want to, I go back to, this is just my finishing moment and just say, I dreamed about changing lives in my community. I never thought that so many people will come and do something. And every day people ask me, what can I do? I tell people to do what you can. And David has been an example of hearing and acting, connecting the dots. And anything you can do, do. You can do for my girls, you can do for people in your own community, because so many people in the world need us. We need to end poverty, and the way to do it, education. It's truly what I believe in, and you've seen it through my girls. And you know, each one of them is changing their family, is changing the community. This is the future. This is the future. And thank you for being part of that. I'm truly, truly thankful for that. Women for Change, you're really movers. Thank you.